Hi, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your September 1st to the 15th, 2021 reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Scorpio, September 1st to the 15th, 2021, Scorpio. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Fool. I love that. And we have the Empress. So it's almost like we just have to take this leap of faith to be able to create and cultivate what it is that we truly want within our lives. In our inner self, we have the Ace of Swords, Air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, the Page of Swords coming through. So we're definitely taking this gift. It's around finding our voice. It's around claiming our voice. It's around being able to create something that expresses, that shows, that vibrates true within us, that raises our energy vibration, but also accelerates it forward. Our emotional self, we have the Ten of Cups, and they all live happily ever after, and the Wheel of Fortune. Everything is changing as we start to identify our own happiness. It then brings us to the Lovers, which is Gemini energy. That is amplified with the inner energy that we have here. So if we have Gemini energy within our natal chart, that's going to be coming through very, very, very powerfully during this time. If we're born on the cusp with Libra, that's going to be coming through very powerfully in our inner selves. The Gemini energy is going to be coming very powerfully through our external lives, our waking lives. And this is also going to be very powerful in the natal chart with all air sign energy. Again, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And then we have the King of Cups. We are represented by the Death card in the minor arcana, by the Cups, by the Death card in the major arcana, by the Cups in the minor arcana. And so we're coming through as a king. And the King of Cups is my favorite king because he says, listen, I only rule me. I only have control over me. And as much as I would like to rule, be able to control, other people, be able to have them do what I want them to do, that will not create my paradise. It's very much like Dostoevsky says. I love the imagery of Dostoevsky's bubbles. And he says that if we created our own paradise, we would pop them one by one, never being satisfied with what once used to be our dream. And that's beautiful. It's a little bit nihilistic, I do understand, but it's also beautiful because it's saying, you know what? Live in the moment now. Don't seek out perfection. It will never be perfect enough. And say, I seek out my happiness, but I seek out happiness as defined by me, not by anybody else. It moves us to the energy that we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. It's the Lord. Now, this is Aries energy. We could need to be mindful of an Aries within our lives. Yes, that could be a very blunt way of looking at it. But we also need to be mindful of the people who claim power, the people who claim that they have the right or the will or the determination to be listened to above all others. Why? Do not question me because why? And that's going to be something that we can really rebel against. We're going to find ourselves wanting to ask all the questions, wanting to have at least a semblance of answers, wanting to open up that door in a very real way. This is going to be a time when we're not satisfied with following the crowd. Like, we don't want to do that at all. We want to say, excuse me. We want to say, this is me, this is what I desire, this is what I want, this is what I need. But we're also going to be very drawn to people who say, I see you, and I have answers. I have understandings. You know, I am the emperor, you are the empress. We can work together. And that's going to be great. Yeah, sure, maybe. Maybe you can work together. But you can't lose yourself to another. And that's what this person here, that's the energy that we have to be mindful of. I can give you everything. You just have to give up everything for me. It's completely reasonable, and they'll make it sound reasonable. That's going to be the real scary thing about them. They'll make it sound very, very reasonable, and that's going to be what we have to be mindful of. The chakra energy, the Scorpio, angels and spirit guides. We have abundance right here, and it's calling forward our abundant energy at our root chakra. At our root chakra, Scorpio, at the root of ourselves, we are meant to live an abundant life. Now, it doesn't mean that we all live McMansions and drive the fanciest, best cars. What it means is that we find our abundance, we find our prosperity, we find our bounty, and we embrace it. We say, this is me, this is where I fit, this is what makes me happy, this is what I understand, this is what builds me forward, guides me forward, and opens up the door for my success, my way of seeing things, my personage. And as we do this, we start to embrace jumping down that rabbit hole. Now, the thing that I love, and I always say about the Fool is what every single hero is what every single successful person is when they say, I'm going to try this new thing, step out of the box, go to the beat of my own drum. And people are going to say, you're foolish. You're foolish because it doesn't work that way. You're foolish because your dreams need to come with a 401k. You're foolish because. And that's okay. It might not be their dream, but that's why we're following our happiness during this time, not everybody else's. And as we are following our happiness, as we are seeing ourselves more openly and more honestly, we're saying, why not? Why not jump down that rabbit hole? I mean, Spirit's saying, share this, but I've been down the rabbit hole of barefoot shoes. And my feet have been in a lot of pain. My mom has a lot of foot problems, and I have her same exact feet. And it just started to make sense. I had a commercial come up on YouTube. I listened to it for some reason. It was 5 minutes long. And it started to change the way I looked at things. And I jumped down that rabbit hole. And it's changing the way that I'm walking. It's changing the way that I'm seeing my feet and myself and my body. And for me right now, that's a really good thing. So we're going to find, and why Spirit is saying to share this is that we're going to find these rabbit holes in the weirdest way. A commercial on YouTube, something that somebody says, an idea that pops into your head, wanting to learn a program that you've never learned before, or a language, and saying, well, why not? I could go and visit this place, opening up the doors and seeing where it takes you, because Spirit is going to be guiding us. And the first instinct that we're going to have is, that's ridiculous. The second instinct we have to have is, why the heck not? Because I'm cultivating and I'm building something beautiful within me. I'm cultivating and I'm moving things forward in a prosperous, powerful, determined way. I'm opening up the door. And this has been building within me for a long time. Now, this new thing that we can be birthing forward, it can be literally a birth. It can be falling pregnant. It can be, creating new life in one way or another. And I don't know why I say one way or another, but there's just something here where Spirit is like, you can be involved in that creation. But there is a sense here of opening up a door, of saying, this is my creative energy, this is my time, my effort, my passion, and I'm moving forward in it. And creating a new life, it could be through adoption, it could be through all these different means. But what we're going to see here is that something within us is opening up. Something within us is saying, it's time that I see the light of day. And it's not necessarily going to be a child. It's going to be a creative idea. It's going to be a greater understanding of what we want and where we're going and what we desire and who it is that we are and where it is that we want to be. And that's going to start to say, don't I get a place? Don't I get to claim my throne? Don't I have worth? Why is it that you're diminishing this? Just like when we say, oh, I'm just a mom. Well, come on. I mean, that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with no breaks, no nothing. You're just like a superhero. So embracing what we're doing and honoring that instead of saying, oh, well, I'm just this. No. And even if, what we're doing is like, oh, well, I'm not a stay-at-home, I'm this, I'm that. We start to give ourselves guilt. Why? Because we don't think we can claim our thrones. We don't think that we're doing it the right way. This is a time where we say, I am doing it right for me. It might not be right tomorrow, but today I'm going to make the decisions that make me the most proud of myself. Because I'm not being number one, but I'm showing up for me. I'm holding space, I'm understanding myself and what I desire and the way that I need to walk forward. And it brings us to the Page of Swords. It brings us to this place of balance. That's why Libra energy came up while I was shuffling for the chakra cards. Abundance comes through balance of mind and heart, balance of understanding that there are going to be messages that come our way. Hear them and open up your ears and your mind. There's going to be a key here during this time, Scorpio, to listening. If we can truly listen, if we can embrace the power of listening, we can embrace the power of ourselves like never before. We cut through doubts, we cut through fears, we cut through negativity, we cut through hurt and pain and heartbreak of others. And what's so beautiful, excuse me, is that God, Source, Spirit, however we see the divine, the universe, hands us a gift of clarity, insight, prosperity, determination, and we take it. We take it in the most powerful way because it's within the same deck. It's within the same line. But the deck is astoundingly important. And so with this, we are being handed a gift of greater insight, greater ideas, greater passion, greater focus, greater fire, greater sense and volume of voice. Meaning not that we have to speak louder, but that the resonance of our voice carries more purposefully, more forcefully. And it brings us to this place where we are the student. Not that we are the master. In our inner self, we are the learner, we are the gatherer, we are the greater understander. And that brings us to the 10 of Cups. That brings us to a place of happiness, to a place of valuing our individual self, to the place of opening up the door and saying, but this is my happily ever after. We tend to think of happily ever afters in the realm of Disney, and not everybody wants to marry the prince and go live in the castle. If we look at things in the real world, from Grace Kelly to the modern age, we can see people very much not being happy with what is sold as the all-time dream. And yet some are very happy within it. And so we have to say, what is right for us? Not what does everybody else want me to do? And so I embrace my heart. I embrace my soul. I embrace myself. I look at what I desire. And I say, I nurture this. I grow this within me. And I get to bring it forward within my world. I get to bring it forward within my heart. And that brings us to a 10. Our heart is all about change. It's all about completions of a cycle. It's all about stepping into a new space with power, determination, and focus. It brings us to the Wheel of Fortune. It brings us to stepping into a new season, understanding that as we change, as we develop, as we gain an understanding of ourselves, nothing gets to stay the same. And that can be kind of painful. But as a Scorpio energy, as a person who understands the death and rebirth cycle, we understand that the relationships that we have will constantly be changing. Not with the people that we have them, but with the foundation and the basis of that relationship. How we treat each other, how we've grown, how we gain this understanding. We look at it when we have a relationship, let's say, with a child. That relationship with a child, when a child is born, they're helpless. They need us to do everything for them. And then they become more and more independent until we have to learn the time to kind of step back and say, you move forward. You move forward and I will support you, but you move forward now. And these changes can be overwhelming, but we also see them within ourselves. When one part of our personality is needed more than the other, when we have the questioning part, the seeking part, the part that is insecure playing the main role, and then we have this awakening, this understanding, and this confidence that moves us forward, coming into play and saying, no, I stand here now. And so we're going to see this change and this happening with ourselves. We enter into new seasons. We find a greater understanding. We connect with our hearts more and more. And as we connect with our hearts more, we connect with who we are and who we want to be with clarity, insight, and tenacity. It moves us to the Lovers. In the public arena, we need to come to the understanding, Scorpio, that there's more than one way to see everything. That not everybody is going to agree with us, and that's quite okay. But we have to honor the differences of opinions. So often today, it almost feels like either you agree with me, like either you're for me or you're against me, and that's a very dangerous place to be. What we do with the Lovers is that we open up our hearts to love. We open up our hearts to compassion. And we say, I see the bit of the God's head within you. Do you see the bit of the God's head within me? And what's so interesting is that if you give people the option to see the good within you, they'll see it. Like, you move forward in kindness. Now, some people, I get this sometimes, and I find it terribly odd, but they say, you're too kind, you're too nice. It's weird. And it's like, okay, thank you. You don't really know how to take it. But if you just say, but this is me, this is what I love, this is what I want, this is who I am in life, and I'm not going to change it for anybody else, then there becomes power to that. There becomes insight to that. And that's what we embrace, the power and the insight into our very selves, into our greatest desire. And that changes the game. And so the Lovers is saying, in the public arena, as we are falling in love with our lives, as we're claiming what we love within our hearts, we're falling in love with life. And we're seeing that it isn't based on everybody agreeing with us. It's based on us having the confidence to ebb and flow and change and embrace our sacred masculine energy and our sacred feminine energy and our power and our understanding and embodiment to say, this is me. This is what I want. This is what I desire. This is how I'm moving forward. And it brings us to being the King of Cups, the king that says, I rule my life and nobody else's, and nobody else rules mine. The King of Cups that says, I lead by example. I fill my cup full. And because I take care of myself, I fill my cup. It's not meaning that I'm selfish and I don't take care of what needs to be taken care of, but I remember that I matter. I remember that I get to take a shower, I remember that I get to have a cup of tea before everybody pulls me 500,000 different directions and I'm walking around like a zombie, still not getting everything done. And so the King of Cups says, I stand in my power, I stand in my understanding, and I embrace me. Because if I live by example of embracing my heart and my kindness, of setting clear and distinct boundaries and rules, that opens the door. And that changes everything. It brings us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And that's justice. Libra energy coming through again. This is being very mindful that we can fall into the trap of saying everything has to be just. White page, black print, by the rules. Things have to be discerning. Is the energy right? Is this right for you? It might be right for somebody else. It might be right for somebody else that you really, really love. It's not right for you, and that's okay. Balancing your own energy. Understanding when people feed that energy in a positive way and where they deplete that energy in a negative way. Moving yourself forward. And also knowing that you'll be coming into contact with people who are all about the rules. And they don't care about anything else. They just want the bottom line met. They just want things to run a certain way. And they're not going to see the humanity within it. Scorpio. For you, it is very important to always see the humanity within everything. The subconscious chakra message is universal light. This is the soul star chakra located 6 inches above our crown. Let your light shine. Do not let anybody make you feel guilty of your light, make you doubt your light. Let your light shine. It guides you forward, and it leads you to places and understandings and adventures you never imagined. It brings us then to our subconscious rooted self, which is the devil, Capricorn energy. The devil is addiction, doubt, fear, control. When we think of addiction, it can be, the ones that we just come to logically when we think of it. It's like, okay, drugs and alcohol. All right. But it can also be trying to keep things so ordered. I only eat all organic, all natural foods. I judge my calories because I have to be in control, right? It's whenever we control something so much that the joy is taken out of it. I exercise, but I have to exercise and burn this many calories. I have to push myself this far. We're taking the joy out of it. Why not find the joy again and break the tides that humanity says we have to hold? The expectations that other people have given us, the desires that other people want us to live. Break the ties and say there are no strings on me. I get to dance and be free. I get to live and laugh. It's also breaking the ties with anxiety, breaking the ties with, surrounding ourselves with negative people, doubting ourselves, narcissistic people who steal our energy. Now is the time to say, I embrace my power. I embrace my insight. I have truth to live. It brings us to our subconscious inner self, which is the Four of Wands. And they all live happily ever after. This is the marriage card. What are we married to during this time? Not who are we married to, but what? Is it, I want to live a happy life? Is it, I want to live a creative life? Is it, I want to have an adventure? What is it that will bring me joy, that will bring me prosperity, that will open up the door, that will guide me forward? And this is going to be what we need to celebrate. This can be new job opportunities, new housing opportunities. This can be new business ventures opening up. This can be our relationships becoming deeper, becoming more meaningful. And it's not just our romantic relationships, but all our relationships, gaining a depth to them. It brings us then to our subconscious emotional self. And that is the Nine of Cups. A wish is granted. A wish is granted and a wish is seen. So be mindful of this. It happens subconsciously, so it might happen without you even knowing it. But it is really quite beautiful. It brings us then to our subconscious inner self. And that is Temperance, Sagittarius energy. If we're born on the cusp with Sagittarius, this is going to come through very powerfully. Balance, harmony. In the public arena, we need to balance ourselves. We need to balance what we desire. We need to balance what we need and what we want, our dreams and our hopes, what is expected of us and what we expect of ourselves. And we're going to find that through temperance, through balance, through a harmonizing understanding, but also moderation in all things is going to be very important to us during this time. All right, Scorpio. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we follow that rabbit down that rabbit hole, as we see what foolish adventures make us into heroes. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Scorpio.